We're going out there and we're trying to perform something in one take.
Would you like to end up in WWE one day?
The goal is to make a living doing something that I am passionate for, which is wrestling and entertaining.
Is there maybe one dream match you'd like to have?
You know, I've always been a huge fan of Matt Taven.
Okay, you hear that, Matt? BT wants a match.
That's it.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to It's Real to Us, the wrestling show. My name is Anthony the Mark, and today I am joined by one of the biggest independent wrestlers in the world today. And yes, I do mean that quite literally and figuratively. Ladies and gentlemen, BT Big Trouble Ben Bishop.
Got it. Oh, BT Double B. Do you know the height and weight? Do you have that down yet?
I don't. I have the 15% of a metric ton.
Oh, you don't have the height, 6'12".
So actually, I knew the height, but I was thrown off with the 6'12" because isn't that just 7 feet?
All right, so I'll give you the reason why I came up with that. So a peek behind the curtain here. When Kevin Garnett came into the NBA, Kevin Garnett he's a legit 7'1". When he came to the NBA, he said, "I'm 6'13", because at the time when he was going to be in the NBA, 7-footers were always just going to be down in the paint, back to the basket. Not that you weren't facing up. So he told everybody, "No, I'm not a 7-footer. I'm 6'13". So when I say 6'12", I kind of think of myself as I'm not the normal 7-footer. So that's why I don't want to put myself in the box of like the big, I'm just a big 7-foot guy and I hurt people. I wanted to be a little different.
It sounds like you're trying to showcase your ability to do all of the things that big men can do plus.
Exactly.
And that actually works towards you as a content creator as well. So for anybody who might not know from our audience, not only are you an independent wrestler, you are also a content creator who makes some of the most funniest videos that you'll see, especially as a wrestling fan. So maybe if you don't mind, can you introduce yourself to our audience a little bit from a wrestling point of view and also as a content creator? Is that possible?
Yeah, of course. I'll just rip it here. So folks, Big Trouble Ben Bishop, 6'12", 15% of a metric ton, meat popping, jaw dropping, earthquaking, pillars shaking. The one you come to see, the one made for TV, BT Double B. And folks, I'll tell you, first and foremost, I'm the most unserious wrestler that you'll probably ever meet. I take the craft of professional wrestling serious, but I don't take myself serious. I like to have a silly goose time. I like to have a good time because you know what? That's what it is. That's what wrestling should be. We all grew up as fans. We all grew up enjoying this. It was an escape for us. So why do we have to take it too serious? Why do we have to take ourselves too serious? Why don't we have fun with it? And that's been my motto over the past few years with it. And you know what? It's got me bookings. It's got me attention, eyes on me more than ever before. Because listen, I came into wrestling and I was a big guy. I'm a huge guy, and everyone's like, "You're going to get signed. You're going to get this, that, and the other." And guess what? It wasn't happening. So I had to do something different. And I decided to do something different and put myself out there in a different way. And hence the content creation. And that's where I am now. And that's why I'm getting to do these cool interviews with guys like you, Anthony. So that's me in a nutshell.
Well, it's definitely hard to put yourself out there, and especially putting yourself in the ring too. So let's talk about your in-ring career a little bit. I know you started wrestling in 2019. Yep. So you're on year 6 now of being a performer. Over the course of your career, is there one match at this moment that stands out, match or moment in the ring that stands out?
Oh man, there's been a good amount in only 6 years that really come to mind. I've had the opportunity to work with some really, really great wrestlers and over the last few years, and a few that come to mind is getting to work against Steve Macklin in Burlington, Vermont. I actually have the UVM men's soccer national championship sweatshirt on right now. So shout out to them. That's really cool that they brought a national championship to Vermont. But I got to wrestle Steve Macklin in Burlington, where I went to school, where I played basketball. And it was actually also alumni weekend for the basketball team. So it was really, a lot of my buddies were just there, from out of town. It all worked out really perfectly, just a coincidence. So that was great.
You get a lot of bench chants that night?
Yeah, a lot of, I was actually a little before the bench chant, before that started. It was before the AEW Rampage stuff happened. But it was amazing. It was great. And Steve's a consummate professional. Last year I got to work Matt Riddle, which was I personally believe he's one of the best wrestlers in the world. You know, I think he's unbelievable and he can go with anybody. Those are two that definitely stand out. But I mean, man, it's hard to really say there's just like one moment. I think what I've been able to experience over the past 6 years, a lot of times I don't take a step back and really appreciate it and kind of say, like, hey, you know, and just let myself enjoy the small wins because as a wrestler, and yeah, I'm sure you understand this as like a content creator and even being around when you're in WWE, you know, everybody wants to get signed, right? Everybody wants to have a contract, and sometimes that clouds our ability to enjoy the little things, right? So like doing small, cool things, like even not in the ring, like getting able to work with Brandon Walker at Barstool, getting to go up to Barstool a few times, getting to work out with DDP at his house, you know, and building a relationship with him, meeting some like legends that I watched on TV, sharing locker rooms with guys now, being on posters, getting to do the Young Rock because of wrestling, getting to be on that show, getting to be in two WWE 2K commercials, just all this type of stuff that, you know, a wise person once told me, you know, a watched pot never boils. So if you're just sitting there like waiting, you know, you're never going to really enjoy the fruits of your labor. And my wife says the same thing to me a lot too. It's like, you know, you're still doing cool things. Like, yeah, you're not hitting the main goal that you're trying to get to, but you're getting to do these things that not a lot of people get to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so enjoy it. And like, cause you'd see me get frustrated and pissed and like, why hasn't it happened yet? Why hasn't it happened yet? It's like, but no, you know, you got to just sit back and enjoy it. So that's why I really started doing these videos. I started taking things very much like day by day and just like, you know, and every opportunity, just enjoy it to the most because, hey, not everyone gets to do this shit. So like, you know, while I still can, just have fun with it every day. And I try to make every experience as positive and fun as possible.
Awesome, dude. That's such a great mindset. We have a philosophy at It's Real to Us, and it's brick by brick. Small incremental gains moving forward, okay? And whether that's the 2K commercial, whether that's working in AEW, whether that's having some of the matches you've already had or some of the matches you're going to have. I know you've got a contest with NIC Nemeth this
Yeah.
Thursday. So
Friday, this
Friday. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No,
But
you're good.
you are continually working your way up the mountain. So that's incredible to see. And I want to talk about some of the things that you just mentioned. I love AEW. So I'm not just a WWE guy. Love watching AEW too.
Mhm.
You wrestled from 2021 to 2024 a handful
Yep.
of times for AEW. Can you take me through
Yeah.
your experience working with the company?
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing but good things to say about them. My first match in 2021, I got invited there was with Bear Bronson and one of the nicest human beings in professional wrestling. So shout out to him. And then I got to work with Preston Vance in 2022. Again, you know, really awesome guys. So my two like AEW dark matches were awesome. Like just like I couldn't have asked for two better opponents to work with. And I was very fortunate. So I mean, some other people might say different things, but for me, it was incredible. I remember the first one against Bear Bronson, though, just like a quick anecdote.
Yeah.
It was July of 2021. They were just like a week later, 2 weeks later, they started going back on the road, but they were still doing stuff at Daly's place. And I remember that night they were filming. They were going to film in like 3 or 4 episodes of Dark. It's like 47 matches.
Oh my God.
So yeah, and of course it's all production, right? So it's not just like you can't.
Yeah.
It's not just like you're
can't just
running people in and out. Like
yeah, exactly.
you got to do the music, you got to do the pyro, anything that happens, you got to put it in. We were supposed to be like the 10th or something like that, 10th match maybe. And then like 15 minutes before, they're like, "Are you guys ready to go?" And I'm like, "Yeah, we can do our match." Like, and they're like, "All right, you guys are first."
Oh,
So I
that's
go out. I'm like, "This is great." Yeah. So we were the first match out of 47. You know, it's still light out in Jacksonville. Then I go get changed, and I'm like, "All right." You know, I took some time. I sat in some air conditioning for like about 20, 30 minutes, you know, just to not be sweating anymore. And then I went back out there, and they're like, "What match are we on?" We're like, "Yeah, we're on like 14." I'm like, "Okay." But man, we were there till like 2, 3 a.m. in the morning. And they
oh,
told me, they're like, "This isn't even bad." Like we've been here until 4:30 at one point. So it was
God.
long nights. But then Preston Vance, that was in Orlando. Get to do a spot with little Brody.
Oh,
So that
wow.
was cool. It's a -1. Yeah, that was awesome. So I was always a big fan of his father. So that was a really cool moment as well. And then the last one, it was the one that really kind of kickstarted things with Roderick Strong.
Yes.
And this is after I started doing some videos. Now more people kind of know me a little more, right? People are like, "Oh, you're the guy that does the videos. Oh, you're the guy that does these videos." And I'm like, yeah. So they're like, "I didn't know you're this big." So it's pretty funny. So then, I find out, after being there for about an hour, it's like, "Oh, you have a match. Who is Roderick Strong?" I'm like, "Oh man, how much time? That's cool. I think the world of the guy. How much time we got? Oh, you got 2 minutes." I'm like, okay. So what are we gonna do? It is what it has to be. And without pulling the curtain back too much, I was definitely just an enhancement talent that night. I come to learn. But I told myself I can either do one or two things. I can have the match. I can have a few pictures and say, "Hey, look, I was on Rampage. Look how cool this is," right? Like, oh, fun, whatever. Get a few likes. Feel myself for a day or two, and then go about my business. Or I can take this and I can make something of it. And a lot of people would look at like doing a job like that as like chicken shit, but I can make this chicken shit into chicken salad. So let me see what I can do here. So I started thinking, like, all right, well, it's kind of funny. I mean, it's nothing against Roderick. It's just the fact he's about half my size. So what are we gonna do here? The My Sacrifice highlight video. I thought of first. I'm like, that'll be really funny. All right, it's like, I'm gonna do that. Whatever happens in the match, I'm gonna figure out something to do, and that's gonna be it. I'm gonna do this match, and then I'm like, watch the match with my wife on the couch. Go. All right. Well, they didn't. They probably cut my entrance short. Let's go. This is a good match. It was a good one. These guys are on TV every week. I was out there. How do I look?
Much bigger than everyone.
Yeah, I sure do. Yeah, I know it does. Thanks. That's a good spot right here. Yeah. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. Watch this. What should I do here? Boom! Yeah. Watch again. Ready? Ha! Get off me, little guy. Because it was Rampage, I knew I had a week to promote it. So I'm like, I'm going to promote it like it's this big deal. And then like the culmination of it is going to be me watching it with my wife on the counter, being like, what the hell was that? So that was my idea. And then the pose was just a silly, like 10 minutes before I went out, I just thought like, I got to do something. Cause I know the only time that camera is going to be on me is when they announce my name.
Right.
So I'm like, I'd have no other guarantees in that match besides that one moment. So I'm like, let me just do something kind of goofy that shows my personality, because at my core, I'm kind of just a goofy guy.
Love that, man.
So I'm like, let's just do that. And I did it. And my buddy, Jameson Ryan, in the back, I don't know what that was, but like, it was so good. It looked so good on camera. It came off great. So I'm like, all right, great. Then I saw it back and I'm like, all right, well, here's the GIF. Here's the meme. Here's this,
The highlight tape, right?
Let's roll with it. So yeah, long-winded answer, but my AEW experience was nothing short of great. I'll always say that.
That's awesome that you have a positive relationship with AEW. If they were to invite you back, hypothetically, is there maybe one dream match you'd like to have?
That's a good question. I'm not one to really say, like, I've never made like lists or said like I want dream matches or anything like that. But I've always been a huge fan of Matt Taven.
Oh,
and
nice.
and I met him in 2013, way before I was wrestling, but I met him at WrestleMania weekend when it was in New York. So
Okay.
WrestleMania 29. And he was just super kind, like really nice guy. And then I saw him again at an indie show in 2014. He actually remembered me, which was cool. And I just always kept up with him through all those years. And I wasn't like a huge indie wrestling fan or like a huge ROH fan, but I kept up with it because of him. A lot of wrestlers like to say Marks, that, old, and the other. And like, I catch myself saying it at times as well, but like,
I'm Anthony the Mark. That's my
it's,
gimmick.
yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I think we're all marks at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Like, you got to be a mark to do this. But like, I don't like when I hear wrestlers like discredit like positive fans, like not the trolls. I don't count them as fans. They're not fans. Like, I'm talking about people that come to shows, pay for the tickets. If you're not taking the time with these people and like giving them a positive experience, like even just like saying hi, having a minute conversation, that can make that person's day, and they can be a fan of you for life. And that's the same thing on social media too. I say the same thing. And that's how Matt was. Matt wasn't like, oh, you're just some like big Mark over here that like he was cool. He took the time. He talked to me at the WrestleMania weekend at the indie show that I saw him at too. And then just coincidentally 5 years later became a wrestler after that. And then what was cool is on Rampage when I was with Roderick, he was part of it, kind of. He was there, you
The
know.
Undisputed Kingdom.
Yeah, exactly. So I would say if there was one dream match, it'd be him. It'd be Matt Taven.
Okay, you hear that, Matt? BT Double B wants a match.
That's it.
AEW Dynamite.
That's it.
Make
Yeah,
it
main
happen.
event. Main
Give
event.
what they want. Main event.
That's
30
it.
minutes. You and
30 minutes. No, hold on a second. Whoa, I didn't say that.
Yeah, 15 minutes.
A tight 15. We'll go with a tight 15.
Tight 15. But okay, man. I hope that maybe one day we can see that happen. And this right here is the spawn of it. That would be beautiful. Matt Taven, watch out, buddy.
Yeah, dude.
Big trouble. It's coming. It's going to be a tight 15. It's going to be a show.
15. Tight 15.
All right. So we talked about your experience with AEW. What about your experience with WWE?
Yeah. So, well, first, I had a tryout in 2021. It was still during COVID, February of 2021. I got my first, and only WWE tryout. And so far, yeah, that was an interesting one. It was only 12 of us, and it was 6 athletes, and then 6 indie wrestlers. It was just funny because, like, I remember before we started the tryout, a few of the athletes were like, "What are we gonna do?" They have no idea. Like, there was like a football player, rugby player. I remember when we started the warm up, there was a guy behind me, and he was like an offensive lineman from Wake Forest or something, I think. And I could just tell him, like, "Oh, brother, you ain't making that. You ain't gonna make this," because I could just hear him like, like, what the fuck? Like, just I'm like, come on, man, keep going. Just keep
character work, pal.
My man got a 2-day vacation in Orlando because after that warm up, 15 minutes later, he walked out.
Oh, he did.
Just said, I'm done. I am done. Like, I don't want to do this. And then eventually, after the first session, I think another 5 people dropped out. So there's 7 of us, really. And it was 6, and it was the 6 indie guys, and there was 1 athlete, so he stayed through the whole thing as well. And it was brutal. It was a brutal tryout. Again, 7 of us doing the full tryout. There's no rest time, so we're doing this whole thing. But it was a really cool experience. I will personally say I definitely wasn't ready. I wish I kind of had a little bit more time, but you got to take those opportunities. Of course, you can't say no. So, but it was a great opportunity, working with William Regal, working with Robbie Brookside and a few of the other coaches that were there and some of the talent that were there. It was really cool. So that was my first experience with them.
Having been through that experience, if you were to get another tryout, you would assume obviously it would be something similar, right? So even though you didn't necessarily get signed, you've definitely benefited from going through the entire process, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And going to seminars now, learning more of what they're looking for, really is helping me out and kind of exactly like fine tuning what they're looking for. So I have a better idea now of what they want and kind of what to expect with a tryout. So it's now I'd feel a lot more comfortable because also I feel better with my character too.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I feel more comfortable with my character, I feel more comfortable in the ring. At that point, I was only like a year and a half in. So I was still very green. And like it almost kind of like, nervous, right? Now it's like, you go out there, a match is a match. Like that's how I feel now. So I think I'd be able to have a better showing for sure.
And is that the ultimate goal? Would you like to end up in WWE one day?
Of course, yeah. And I think, the high majority of wrestlers would say the same. I think very, very many would. That's what we grew up watching, especially myself. I'm 35. So, I look at things and I'm like, that was my childhood, was WWE. So that's always been the goal. But, if that doesn't work out and AEW is great, I'd love to have an opportunity with them as well, TNA as well. See where it goes. And that's like I said, if you asked me 3 years ago, I would have said yes, WWE 100%. You ask me now, and like I'm always, because when people ask me the question like, where do you see yourself in 5 years, or where do you want to be? I don't really set goals like that. I kind of set like daily goals, like always kind of just continue to try and get better. That's kind of how I look at things. But back to what I was talking about. when it comes to like setting goals, I would love to get to WWE. The goal is to eventually try to make a living doing something that I truly do I am passionate for, which is wrestling and entertaining.
Mhm.
And that's really the goal. And if it's WWE, that's amazing, because that's kind of like the one, But if there's also one A, one B, so that there's if I can find other ways to do it, that'd be great.
You just want to be able to make a living doing something you love.
There
And
you
if that isn't the American dream, I don't know what is.
go.
I'm in the same exact boat. I want to grow It's Real to Us to be a independent wrestling promotion one day. That is the goal
Awesome.
of this show right now. So you keep on doing your thing, man. I have no doubts at some point, whether it's WWE, AEW, TNA, we will see you wrestling. Definitely you versus Matt Taven. That's already booked in my mind.
I think so. We have to book it for your Fed. If you have to book it. If
Hell,
AEW doesn't book it in time.
if we could get the main event of the first ever It's Real to Us show, Big Ben versus Matt Taven, I will be a very happy man, my friend.
Hell yeah, dude.
That would be a great main event. Let's talk though about your journey on the independent scene a little bit right now.
Yeah.
So you talked about a couple of the matches you've had that are up there in your mind for maybe your best matches or career highlights up until this point. Friday, we talked about it. You're going up against Nick Nemeth.
Mhm.
Nick Nemeth is one bad man. He is an all-timer in my book. In terms of selling, I think he is one, if not the best all time. So what are you hoping to get out of this match with Nick Nemeth?
I'm hoping the fans enjoy it, number one. I don't care what we do in the match. I don't care if we do moves. I don't care if we do nothing. I don't care if it's half the match is Gaga. I don't care. As long as the people in the crowd enjoy it and
Right
people
on.
that paid the money. That's the number one. That's the number one priority. But speaking about the match itself, previously just mentioned, I'm not like a big dream match guy, right? But when people ask me who would you say you'd want to have a match with all time? And I always say the first, if in any point in wrestling history, who would you want to have a match with? That answer has been Bret Hart. And it's because, I'm a big fan of Kevin Nash, and I think Kevin Nash's best matches were against Bret Hart. And I won't say I'm the biggest Bret Hart fan. Like, I'm not like it wasn't like, but I think the way he works is obviously some of the best of all time, especially against big men. But number two, I'd always say is Nick Nemeth. And I've said that for years because of what he can do in the ring and how he has made a living making everybody. He's so good at making everybody look good. And, like how Mr. Perfect was similar, how Brett was, Nick is that new kind of person that does that. I just really am super stoked for it. They always say, you don't want to mark out too much. When I heard I was going to do that, I did mark out. I was very, very, very excited. I was elated, man. I like that I get the opportunity because he's not like working indies all the time. It's not like, this is a special opportunity that I got and I've worked for, and I'll give myself a pat on the back. That's like, I put myself in a position that I'm trusted to be in the ring with him in a main event. Right. Where it's like, promoters aren't just going to throw anybody out there with Nick Nemeth, right? You're going to put the guys that you trust who are going to make the match look good. So it doesn't look like shit. And, he comes out of it being like, why'd you put me in the ring with that guy? And people have asked, like, are you nervous? Are you nervous? And I'm like, I'm less nervous because I'm in the ring with a guy like that. Right. Like, I feel like I'm going to be going against one of the best in the business. And it almost makes me feel like I'm more at ease. That's how I feel now working with guys like that. It was the same thing with Riddle. And like, working with him, it's what you see with Riddle is what you get. So like, he's that guy, right? Yeah. So like he is, but like everything's just calming. It's calming being in a ring with him. I did a seminar with Rich Swann one time too, and very similar. Like guys like that who are just so good, and like doing a little spot with him, it's just everything's calm. Everything's just like there's no rush. It's calm down, and it's like feels like it moves a little slower. But it's not really moving that slow. They just know how to make it seem like that, so that everything resonates and everything makes sense. And obviously, like Nick's almost like he's just how good he is. I can't wait to get in the ring. So I've met him before. We built a little bit of a rapport. And I know he sees some of the videos, he comments, he retweets and stuff like that. So I really I can't wait for Friday. I'm very, very excited. I just wanted to get here. I want to be in Maryland. I want to get there. I don't want to have any issues with the plane, this, that, the other, knock on wood, so I just want to make sure that we get there, it happens. And I think the people in Hagerstown are really going to enjoy it.
I can feel you chomping at the bit, wanting to get in the ring with him. And I get it. Probably one of the best dance partners anybody could have in the squared circle. Is there one move in particular you're hoping that you can hit him with? Maybe send him flying, or
we got let's see what would look absolutely the best. You got the Burton bomb. I can hit him with that sit out choke slam.
Oh yeah.
I got the catamount clutch. It's my version of the Coloss. Or the one and only.
I saw you hit AJ Francis with it, and my immediate thought was, because you got him up, so I'm like, you get AJ up, he's a monster of a man. He's a big dude. Shout out AJ Francis, great guy.
I loved my match with AJ too. That's one I forgot. We had a really fun match.
If you could get him up that high, I'm just thinking, oh my God, you're gonna put Nick Nemeth in the rafters. He's gonna get up there.
We'll see. Yeah, he might surprise me on how high he gets on it. But I think we'll be able to create some pretty cool moments in Hagerstown. And we have a great Adrenaline Championship Wrestling has a really great fan base there. I've got to work some fun matches. They know who I am, so it's not like I'm going in blind. I've been there a ton. So as much as they obviously know Nick Nemeth, I'm going to have a good amount of people that know me as well. So it's going to be I think a really spectacular main event.
Comparing the types of opponents that you wrestle. So we talked about AJ Francis, now Nick Nemeth, two completely different styles. One is a big powerhouse. The other guy's, smaller, quicker. Do you have a preference when it comes to your opponent?
That's a good question. And, again, if this is something you asked me like 3 years ago, I'd probably say smaller opponent because of being still so green and like not really knowing what I can do with bigger guys. Right. So I got to rely on moves and stuff. Right. Like I won't be able to pick up guys as easily as I could a smaller guy, so I can't, so what am I going to do? But once you start learning how to work more, it's like, oh, wrestling a big guy's easy. I mean, we don't have to do that much. And like the thing with AJ, we didn't really do that much, if you really watch the match back, but we were able to kind of tell a story in the match. And, in a quick 10-minute match, we didn't have to do like crazy spots or anything where either of us are picking each other up, doing all this stuff. But we built to it. I would say I don't really have too much of a preference. I just want to work with people who are willing to work together. Right. Like I hate wrestling people that have egos, like wrestling big guys that will either just not want to do who take themselves a little too serious, who are like, oh, I'm not bumping for anybody or this, that, and the other. Like you'll get guys like that, guys who don't know really how to work. And it's okay. Like I always say about myself, I don't get mad at people. Like if the match, the number one thing I'll always ask when I get to the back, are you okay? Is everything okay? Are you good? Is it safe? You feel okay? That's the number one thing. I don't care if the match sucks, the match sucks. But if I hurt somebody and let's say it's a good match, but I hurt somebody, the match sucked.
Right.
So it's not a good match. I don't care. I'll immediately say it's bad. Even if it was great, I'll say it's bad because that's the number one priority. And I don't get mad at people because you know what? It's just at the end of the day, we're going out there and we're trying to perform something in one take. It's not like we're on a movie set and we can have 20 takes to try to get something perfect. Where it's a simulated fight. In fights, things don't go the way you think things are going to go. People stumble, people miss things don't go the right way. It happens, right? So I don't get mad. I don't get mad at stuff like that. I just get mad at people who are unwilling to want to work together. So nowadays, big guys, small guys, I'll work whoever. But again, it's as long as that person is willing to want to work and have and put on a show or tell a story for that crowd. That's the type of person I want to work with.
Right. Let's have an open dialogue. Let's discuss what we're going to do. Let's not just go in there and you're going to throw me around and stuff. Let's leave the egos in the back. Let's put on a good show for the people who are spending their hard-earned money to see us.
And that's the thing. Everyone has an ego. It's funny because wrestling has the best and worst of athletics and theater, right? So but when you put the worst of those two things together, where you have jacked up theater kids,
right?
That have the burning desire to win of an athlete. Now you have, and when you mesh that together, it's like it kind of messes with people's mind. because it's like, oh, it doesn't matter. It's a work, right? Like, yeah, win or losses don't matter, but it does to some people. And some people will get really hung up on if they have to lose. And I think that's the silliest, dumbest mindset to have. If you're a wrestler and you're upset about losing a wrestling match, then you just quit. Just quit. Just quit. And I won't mince words there. Like, if you get mad about having to sell someone's move or having to lose a wrestling match, you're in the wrong business. You should just quit. So but you know what? There's a lot of people like that. It really is.
Well, especially because there's always another match, right? Like
Yeah.
you got another day tomorrow. I almost think about it like baseball. Like, you go 0 for 4, you're not just going to quit. You're going to get up the next day, you're going to go to the plate, and you're going to try to hit it out of the park. And it's similar in wrestling, where if you're losing one night, you're looking up at the lights. There's no reason a week from now you won't be having your hand raised. It's all about the work you put in. So
exactly. And the way I think about it, Anthony, is like, we're on the indies, right? And like, a good indie show now, you get 300, 400 people. And it's a really good show, really good turnout, right? And it's not really televised. I mean, you have IWTV and and that's great, and for footage, but it's not like thousands and thousands and thousands of people are wanting to watch your match on IWTV, right? So if you lose a match on the indies, it's not the end of the world. Like, it's not like you're gonna, like, I mean, I don't like, it's no one's gonna really remember and be like, oh, dude, you lost it, FTW the other weekend or whatever. Like, oh, you're a loser. It's like, nobody, like, take it, get the clips out. And that's what I do. Get the clips out, start promoting the clips, promoting the mat, like this, that, and the other. No one cares no one's going to really get all hung up if you lose on the end. Like, it's not on TV. It's not like you're telling this big giant story across these different indies, and some people do. And Cardona's done a good job of that. But I mean, like, when it comes to like just, having a match, if the promoter says, hey, we got to, this guy has to go over, are you okay with that? Of course. Like, of course, as long as we make it make sense. And as long as person is willing to work to make it make sense.
How much are you working on a weekly basis in terms of matches? Like, and what does that do?
Yeah. That's a great question. I get that question a lot. And, a lot of people have different opinions on this subject, but we don't live in the times anymore where there's shows Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, like, you don't have those anymore. So it's not, I think, let me give a shout out to like Beyond, because I think Wrestling Open and Beyond's doing it good because they got Thursdays and Mondays now, they're going to be starting up Thursdays in Worcester, Mondays in Rhode Island, which is really cool. So it gives, guys and gals a lot of time to work. So that's really cool. But that's not like that everywhere. So really, when it comes to it, you have 3 opportunities to work every weekend, to work a week, right? Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And Sunday, not many places run Sundays. So that's like they cut that in half, really. So really 2.5 you have. So think about it, in a month, you have about, let's say, 8 to 12 opportunities to work every month, right? Or have a match. I'd say right now I'm probably averaging about 4 to 5 matches a month. And right now that's okay with me. I'm more focused on quality over quantity.
Okay.
Unfortunately, with the indies, there's a lot of bad. There's a lot of good, but there's a lot more bad. So I don't want to spend the time to go to, drive, let's say 6-7 hours to an indie where I'm working. And this isn't to discredit people, but just somebody that's not on the level where I want to be working.
Right.
Where it's
just
like
to work. You're not
just
working.
to work. Yeah. And it's not something that is really going to benefit me. Like, so I want to make sure that I'm spending my time, because again, I have a life outside of wrestling. I have a job, I have a family, this, that, and the other. So like, I'm not going to just go to a show just to say that I'm booked on this random show. If it's worth it and it's something that, like, I'll make the sacrifices and I'll do it. But I want to make sure that I'm doing I'm doing the shows that are going to benefit me the most, because being 6 years in, I'm not saying I'm perfect, not saying I'm the greatest wrestler or anything like that. And I definitely still need reps, but it's got to be good reps. And there's a difference between good reps and bad reps, because there's a lot of bad reps out there right now. When guys used to do this in the territory days, you were riding the roads with all guys who were really good. And so you're getting good reps 4 or 5 days out of the week, but you're also beating up your body too.
Right.
So, there's give and take. you can't really get those type of good reps anymore because we've come to a point where it's also a lot easier to get into wrestling. More people are in wrestling. And so that just means a lot more bad is in wrestling. So I need to, I kind of take my bookings and make sure, I look at posters. I kind of see who's on the show. Do I know people? Is this going to benefit me? What's the cost benefit analysis here of like how far it is versus what I'm going to get paid?
Right.
So you kind of have to figure out. So right now, yeah, I'd say I'm comfortable with probably, I'd like to be in like the realm of like maybe like 6 or 7 matches a month, but I'm around like 4 or 5 right now, and that's okay for now.
It's all about if the juice is worth the squeeze, so to speak.
Exactly.
So you'd like to go to 6 or 7. Your body, I'm assuming, is holding up.
Yeah, not bad, not too bad. It's all right. I've had a lot of injuries playing basketball, but it's holding up okay. I feel fine.
Okay, awesome. Now, if we could just switch gears a little bit, I want to
Yeah.
talk a little bit as a fellow creator.
Yeah.
Now, as a fan of your content, my favorite one, it's the one that I discovered you with. It's one of your most popular videos. It's the one where you're returning from an indie show after winning the world title.
Wow, can't wait to tell my wife how this weekend went. Hey, babe, I won the title this weekend.
Babe, I saw that you won in front of 35 people, but now that you're home, there's dishes in the sink, the lawn needs to be mowed, and there's dog shit on the floor. Can you deal with that, champ?
How do you come up with some of the ideas for these videos? Maybe that one in particular too.
People, I've gotten asked this a few times, and I really don't have a sexy answer for it. It just comes to me. I see things on the indies and I see the way certain people interact with each other. I see the silliness. I see people take themselves a little too serious. So I notice a lot of that and I kind of think, how can I spin this into a comedic way? And that one, I was just like, like we all, like, you got to think about it. Like we go to these shows, and we're the man.
Yeah.
We're the coolest. People taking pictures with us and wants our autograph, and we're winning, and we have a title, like, and this, that, and the other. And it's like, but then you get home and like, back down to earth,
Right.
because like my wife, all power to her. She puts up with it. She puts up with me leaving on weekends and going to shows, and she's very, very, very supportive. And I love her for it. And then she's been really cool about it. But that's the thing. It's like, it's like, hey, you got home. Now you got to do some shit.
Yeah, right.
It's not, I remember, I think Dax put a tweet out like that before about like, I was just in the main event on Dynamite and, I had one of the best matches of my life. And now it's like Thursday and I'm back home, like pulling weeds. And the reason why I think it really resonated with so many people is because a lot of musicians, comedians, like other people that do this type of like independent work, right? They're all like the same thing with me, same thing with us, same thing. We do the same, like this makes so much sense. Oh, this is so realistic. And it's not to like put down or say like, and a lot of people took it as like my wife's not supportive or that and the other. It's like, no, that's not what I meant. No, exactly. Like that's not how it was meant to be taken. It was meant to be taken as like a funny, like, hey, we are still human.
Right.
Like we're still like, we're not, the superheroes, right? There's the Clark Kent to our Superman, right? Like we still have to do stuff. Like we still have real lives, especially if we're not like at the the top of the game yet. We still got shit to do.
I am curious, was that video your idea or did your wife give you the input and the idea?
No, it was mine. It was my idea. Most of them are the ones I've done with her are my idea, and she's been a great sport because she a lot of the videos that I've done with her, we've done in like 1 or 2 takes. She's really good. She doesn't give herself enough credit. It's like, I'm not going to be funny. I'm like, no, this is what I kind of want you to, like, here's some bullet points of what I want you to kind of say, and then say how you would say it if you were really pissed at me.
You're amazing, but she makes the video.
I know. Oh, I know. Especially the ones sitting on the couch watching the match. I think they cut out some of the match. Yeah. It wasn't that quick. It was at least like a minute and a half.
You talked this up for a week. And you lost.
It was.
Someone, they have to pick him up to be your side.
Did you see the pose? Did you see the pose? Where are you going?
To stay with my parents.
No, what do you mean stay with your parents? You see the hair, the tan? You already had a bag packed? Where are you going? I'll do better next time. What? No, I kind of gave her like kind of, this is kind of the tone I want out of what I want you to say. I gave her the line about like I'm going to stay with my parents. That was the only line I gave her. Everything else, she was great.
Is there maybe a specific video you've created that is your personal favorite?
Well, yeah, the one watching the match
Oh
has
yeah,
really been
that's
my
the favorite.
favorite.
Yeah, that's
That's that one I thought was, and that's still pinned to my Twitter because it's my favorite. All the ones with Bob Furio as the Shindy promoter, I've really become proud of.
Hello, everybody. This is the Shindy God, Bob Furio, and I'm here to try to figure out why Big Trouble Ben Bishop is not on the Capital City Clash poster. Colt Cabana, who Big Trouble actually pinned at the Squared Circle Expo for the Prime title. Yeah, he's got the strap at the Squared Circle Expo. Look it up. Eric Young over on this side, not looking too young anymore. Not least, of course, we get this Connie piece of garbage, Jeff Jarrett, right in the middle. Still putting himself on the posters after all these years. And Big Trouble's nowhere to be found. Big Trouble, the guy who promoted this show nonstop for 2 weeks, nowhere to be found on the poster. Make it right.
Been able to create like this character, and now he has like backstories and stuff too. And it's actually got me the ability to wrestle as him too. For Rad Pro Wrestling, I've wrestled Little Mean Kathleen and Mark Sterling, which was really fun because I get to just be a bad wrestler. So I can just go out there and be bad on purpose, and it's fun. I'm wrestling in a Carhartt, and we did a spot in one of those matches, which was one of my favorite, like probably will be forever my favorite spot in a wrestling match, was where I was wrestling as Bob Furio and I had the Carhartt on, and in my pocket inside the jacket I had my Shindy God shirt. So I took it out and I choked him with it on the ropes, and then I sold it. During the match, then I sold it. So during the match, I went out into the crowd and I sold it to somebody
during the match.
During the match, yeah. So being able to create a character like that, and that to get on people's radars, because again, like everyone knows that type of promoter. Everyone knows the guy who's late on pay or runs the the 5-hour indie show or runs in some dumpy location or doesn't bring water for the boys, or everyone knows those type of guys. And so that's why it resonates with a lot of the boys and the girls, in wrestling, and they all, and they've really started to like it. So, those are, I always like doing that character as well. That's a lot of fun.
Being so funny and a content creator is such a great way to help you stand out, and it really does make you feel like a unique character. But I'm curious, there must be times where there's got to be like a creative block, or maybe you get frustrated from the creation side of things.
Yeah, no, I mean, with any creator, I've really gone for a lot of quantity. So I try to put something out every day, no matter what it is, right? And I do look at a lot of other creators and kind of try to like see different ideas that they use, or templates, or like how they edit their videos, and like and I like there's a few on there that I watch a lot. Like there's a guy named Devonte West, who I think is hysterical on IG. He does a great job. In a few of my videos, I've kind of taken his like template, but made it about wrestling.
That's what you got to do.
Exactly. So I'm not reinventing the wheel, and it's not stealing. I'm not doing their shtick. I'm doing. They've figured out kind of this funny, like way to explain something. So I explain it, but I use it with wrestling. So a lot of times I'll do that. If I'm stuck, I'll kind of see like what's happening here. Or I'll try to think of something quick. Like I'll think of like a quick video where it's not going to take me too much time to film. And I'm like, all right, maybe I'll do something like a 10-second video, something fast. And what can I do here? But I've never really hit like a big creative block, knock on wood. I mean, I a lot of times I'll like wake up in the middle of the night when I
write that down. Write that down.
I swear to God. Yeah. I do. Like I wake up and I'll like go on my notes app on my phone and I'll like write like something quick just to be like, I got to remember this. Because that's I feel like it's weird. I don't know. I think Enzo has said that before too, where he's like woke up and written like promos down or things he'll say in a promo that'll come to him at night. Maybe it's our subconscious or whatever, but that's happened. That's happened a lot. So I've always just thought like there's so much stuff I can do, and there's like always for different topics I can always kind of make one video, but then make another video on the same topic, but like do it in a different way. which I've done a lot of. So yeah, I wouldn't say anything super. I haven't like hit that wall yet where I'm like, I don't know what to do. I feel like there's always never ending stuff that you can make content about.
And especially you're such a creative guy. It's just a matter of like, even if you do have a moment where you're like, man, I don't know what to do. You just sit down, you think about something, 5 minutes. Oh, okay. I'm just going to do
Yeah,
that.
I'll look at like wrestling Twitter and I'll see like what's okay. What are people talking about? What's okay? Look at this. Like this, I can make something with this. I'll look at, like I said, I'll look through IG. I'll look at Reddit. I'll just kind of look through things and be like, what's everybody getting all up in arms about today, and what can I do in a video form to make fun of it?
We try to do that also on this show. A big part of It's Real to Us is we're very game oriented. We'll take like pop culture games and we'll just transform them, similar to what you were just talking about, towards wrestling. So we do blind rankings all the time. Like people were like,
Okay,
blind rank these NBA legends, blind rank these WWE legends.
yeah,
Any single type of game that we can find on the internet, and if we can transform it to wrestling in some way, we try to do that. And that is kind of what we've built our base community around. So
that's great.
with that being said, I was hoping we could play a quick little game.
Oh, please, yes, yeah, I'd love to.
So this is a blind ranking. I'm going to give you 5 wrestlers, and
Okay,
1 to 5, you're going to have to put them in order that you would most like to wrestle. So this,
okay,
does that make sense?
that makes sense. Yeah.
Okay. Number 1 through 5. Where are you putting?
Wait, hold on one second. Before I want to clarify. So
Go ahead.
you have to. You're going to tell me the wrestler. Then I have to put without knowing who the other wrestlers are. Got it. Okay, I've seen this game. Okay.
You want the person that you're most excited to wrestle at 1, least excited to wrestle at 5.
Okay. All right.
Okay?
Let's do it.
All right. Number 1. This could be any wrestler, AEW, TNA, like wherever. Or,
Okay.
Where's Seth Rollins go?
Man. All right. Yeah, I don't want to think about this too much. I'd probably put Seth Rollins. He's so good. I think he's one of the best wrestlers in the world. I'd be interested to see how our styles would clash. But so I would probably have to put Seth at 3. I'm gonna put Seth at 3.
Playing it safe to start.
Yeah, playing a little safe. Yeah.
Okay, next. Where does Lance Archer go? Lance Archer.
Lance Archer's a big guy. I think that could be a really good like spectacle type match. And I think if it was built right, it could get a lot of eyes on it. I'd put Lance at 2.
Okay, Lance at 2. I like it. The big man.
Yeah.
Big man versus big man. Okay. This is going to be
That was gonna be tough.
one right here. Where does Roman Reigns go?
I mean, no, 1. I'm sorry. I wrestling him at number 1. Yeah, it has to be. He's the biggest name. Getting in a ring with him. I mean, that's I don't care who else on the list. That's number 1. So I'm sorry for 4 and 5. Well, yikes. Let's see who we got.
Yeah, let's see how this ends up going. If you're happy about this or not. Okay. Next, Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, I mean, 4 is the next number up. Yeah, man. Cody would be amazing. I can't go back now, but yeah, Cody at 4. Cody at 4.
And then filling out your list is the man who's currently on his heel retirement tour, John Cena.
Ah, son of a yeah. That's a good list. That's a good list. I would have rather worked face John Cena as a heel. So now he's a heel. I'd have to be I don't know. So now at this moment, yeah, John Cena's 5. But if you asked me before, John Cena would be 1 if he was still a face.
I like the spin zone.
That's my spin zone.
You got a heel versus heel dynamic. It would work from a storyline point of view. So you are currently a heel?
Well, no, honestly, not really. I do work face most often. I would rather work John Cena as a heel.
Okay, my mistake.
I go to some places, and I remember my trainer, James Ellsworth, trained me. So I mean, he always said it's hard. It's going to be hard for people to boo you. He said because you don't have that He's like you're not. Like you don't come off as somebody that they want. They don't want. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like you don't like even the other night on Saturday when I worked at Coastal Championship Wrestling against Colby Carter. It was a really fun match. It was kind of like we were kind of both faces, but like I was more of the aggressor in the match, so I was more of the heel slightly. But again, it's just like even I was doing some more heel stuff. People cheer, and they're just like because you give off more of a fun like personality. And you're not kind of just like the brooding, big, like mean guy. So a lot of promoters will try to book me as a heel, but I'll do my heel shtick, but people kind of just like it. So it's like I'm not. I'd say I'm better as a face.
I see you as a huge baby face.
Yeah.
And, we talked about Taven versus Ben Bishop. It's real to us, the main event. You're the baby face in that scenario.
I think so too.
Are you more comfortable, you said, working as a face?
I would say I'm a little more comfortable. Yeah, I can do both. I'm a little more comfortable now as a face. It's definitely, if you ask a lot of wrestlers, I always say it's easier working heel because it's definitely easier to get people. It's easier to get people to hate you than to get people to like you. Um, and also as a heel, you kind of control the match, like, and you control the
Right.
pace. So it's a little bit easier, I'd say. Less challenging, I'll say,
Right.
to work heel instead of face. But once like I've kind of grown into the character that I am now, I would say my character is more leans towards being a face, at least like 80% of the time.
So are you planning on working face this Friday against Nick Nemeth?
That's an interesting one because he just turned heel on TNA television. So I don't know. Because usually when you go to an indie show, right, no matter if the person's a heel or a face on television, there's a TV guy. Right. So the TV guy comes to the promotion, they're automatically kind of unless it's like a guy like a James Ellsworth who gets heat no matter where he goes, right? And he does a great job at it. If it's someone like a Nemeth, people are going to want to cheer him. So it's going to be hard for him to come in and just be a heel. So we'll see how that. I'm not sure. We'll see. We'll see what ends up with that one.
Well, one thing is for sure, I will be rooting for BT Double B.
I love it.
Big Trouble Ben Bishop. I got to thank you so much for coming on the show. It was an absolute pleasure to talk with you, man. Hopefully we can get you on the show again sometime soon.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime. No, I appreciate. Here's one thing I'll always say is I appreciate people working for it and, people going and trying to get. So I see what you guys are doing. And there's a big testament to that. And I really love to support and help people that are showing creativity and showing like an initiative. I take a lot of, I go back and forth with them on social media and, give them shit sometimes, but as a joke, but, like a Matt Cardona, someone like him and he says it all the time, like, he's not just going to do somebody's like podcast. He's not going to just promote somebody or tell someone they're good or anything like that. He's like, I want to see you working for it. And you got to do something. Like, so like, and plenty of times he said like, I'm really impressed with what you've done, this, that, and that means a lot coming from him because he's not going to give those well wishes to anybody. He's not somebody who's going to be a carny and just tell you like, oh, you're doing a great job, kid. Keep going. Like when you're not.
Yeah.
So like, I think that's so true. It's like, you want to support people who are also putting in the work. And trying to make something of it. Like, I come on a podcast and you got a cool background, you got good production. I mean, you're a production guy, so you get it, but you got good production.
I gotta be honest. It might be a little, I was midway through the show. I'm like, man, this is really blue. But
yeah, I know it's okay, but still it's just like, you have the mic, you have the heads and, and I've done podcasts where it's like, the person's blurry, they're on their phone. They're on like, I'm like, when is this coming out? It doesn't come out or it doesn't, or their views are just like abysmal. I'm not like, I don't get caught up in views. Like or anything like that. But like if I don't see like good thumbnails, I don't see good like production, I don't see it done well, I don't see you doing anything else. Like, are you doing other content or stuff like then I'm like, why am I I don't want to waste my time doing that. But like, let's see the difference with you guys. So I always like to make sure I want to continue to make content with people who take it serious and want to actually do it and aren't just doing it just to talk to their wrestler.
Thank you so much, man. Those words of affirmation they mean a lot because you don't always get the appreciation. So
no, we don't.
We love you, Ben.
I love you guys.
My final question is: if It's Real to Us, the wrestling promotion becomes a thing, can we give you a call?
Please.
Yeah, and we'll talk about getting you in the main event again.
I think so. Yeah, man. Absolutely. Where are you guys in the Northeast?
Yes, we're Rockland County. We're about 30 minutes outside the city. So we are in the area. We bounce all over the place for WWE, AEW. We're trying to get to more indie shows. So maybe when we're close, our schedules line up, we can come out to one of your shows. We can interview you post-match, after the match, make some clips, make some content.
You got it, dude. Absolutely. Yeah, when I'm up in the Northeast, I live in Atlanta now, but when I'm up there, for sure, I will absolutely. I'm posting it, and if you guys see it, please come out to a show. And yeah, would absolutely make content. Would love to.
All right. Thanks again, ladies and gentlemen. BT Double B, Big Trouble Ben Bishop. Thank you, man, so much for being on.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.